Life has a way of surprising us. One moment we are walking confidently on a path we have chosen, and the next, everything changes in an instant. There was a time when I had my own dreams, my own plans, and my own aspirations. I thought I had control over my life, but destiny had something else in store for me. One accident, one moment, and everything changed. I found myself confined to a hospital bed, unable to move, unable to feel my legs. The doctors came with reports, each one carrying news that shattered me further. "You will never walk again," they said. "You will never be able to do the things you once loved." And worst of all, they told me, "You will never be a mother." That one sentence broke me. I felt as if my existence had been stripped away. For days, I lay there, trapped in my own mind, drowning in questions that had no answers. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? What is left for me now? But then, amidst the darkness, a thought emerged. If I couldn't control what had happened to me, could I still control how I responded to it? If happiness wasn't going to come knocking on my door, could I create it myself? I decided to stop waiting for people to make me feel better, waiting for time to heal wounds, waiting for happiness to magically appear. Instead, I chose to take charge of my own life. I started painting, not because I was an artist, but because it allowed me to express myself when words failed. I started speaking, not because I had all the answers, but because I had a story that needed to be shared. The world will tell you what you cannot do. People will put labels on you, define your limits, and set boundaries for your dreams. But the truth is, they don't know your strength. They don't know what you are capable of. Strength is not in physical ability. It is in the power of resilience, in the courage to rise every time life knocks you down. I realized that happiness is not something you find, it is something you create. It is in the little things, the laughter of a loved one, the colors on a canvas, the words that touch someone's heart. Happiness is in giving, in uplifting others, in refusing to be defined by circumstance. And when people said I could never be a mother, I proved them wrong. A child does not have to be born from you to be yours. Love is greater than biology. Today, as I look at my son, I know that happiness was never about what I lost. It was always about what I chose to build. So, to anyone who feels lost, broken, or stuck, remember this. You have the power to create your own happiness. Do not wait for a miracle. Be your own miracle. Happiness is a choice. Instead of waiting for happiness, take charge and create it yourself through positivity and resilience. Challenges do not define you. Life may take unexpected turns, but your strength lies in how you respond to adversity. Break free from limitations. Do not let society, circumstances, or others dictate what you can or cannot achieve. Find purpose in pain, transform hardships into opportunities to inspire, create, and uplift others. Strength comes from within. True power is not in physical ability, but in the courage to rise after every fall. Love is greater than biology. Motherhood, relationships, and happiness are built on love, and not just biological connections. Happiness is something we all seek, yet many of us spend our lives waiting for it to arrive. We wait for the perfect moment, the right person, the dream job, or the ideal situation to make us happy. We tie our happiness to external circumstances, believing that once everything falls into place, we will finally feel complete. But life does not work that way. If we keep waiting, we may spend our entire lives in anticipation, never truly experiencing joy. The truth is, happiness is not something that magically appears. It is a choice, a state of mind that we must consciously create for ourselves. There was a time when I too believed that happiness was something that would come to me if only my circumstances were right. I thought I needed a perfect life to be happy, a life free from struggles, free from pain, but life had different plans for me. In a single moment, everything I knew was taken away. I found myself confined to a hospital bed, unable to move, unable to walk, unable to do even the simplest things on my own. The weight of my new reality crushed me, and I thought my life was over. How could I ever be happy again when I had lost so much? For days, I allowed sorrow to consume me. I questioned everything. Why me? What had I done to deserve this? Would I ever smile again? I waited for someone or something to pull me out of the darkness. But as time passed, I realized that no one else could bring me happiness. No one else could change my life for me. If I wanted to be happy, I had to create that happiness myself. It had to come from within. That was the moment I stopped waiting. I made a conscious decision to shift my perspective. Instead of focusing on what I had lost, I started appreciating what I still had. I could no longer walk, but I could still use my hands to paint. I could no longer run, but I could still speak, share my story, and inspire others. I could no longer experience life the way I had before, but I could embrace a new way of living. The moment I changed my mindset, my life began to transform. Happiness is not found in perfect circumstances. If it were, then only the wealthiest, the most successful, and the luckiest people in the world would be happy. But we know that is not true. Happiness is found in the way we see the world, in the way we choose to embrace life despite its imperfections. It is in the small, everyday moments, the laughter of a loved one, the colors of a sunset, the joy of giving, the beauty of creation. It is not about having a life free from struggles, but about finding light even in the darkest times. Many people spend their lives searching for happiness in material things. They believe that once they achieve a certain status, buy a bigger house, or earn more money, they will finally be happy. But happiness does not come from external achievements. It comes from gratitude, from appreciating what we have rather than focusing on what we lack. It comes from living in the present moment rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Choosing happiness does not mean ignoring pain or pretending that hardships do not exist. It means acknowledging difficulties while refusing to let them control our emotions. It means understanding that even in the face of adversity, there is still beauty to be found, still reasons to smile. It means taking control of our own narrative and deciding that no matter what happens, we will not let life defeat us. There will always be obstacles, disappointments, and losses, but every challenge is also an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to discover a deeper strength within ourselves. Every day we have a choice. We can choose to focus on the negatives, on what we cannot change, on the things that make us unhappy, or we can choose to find joy in what we have, in the love that surrounds us, in the moments that make life meaningful. When I stopped waiting for happiness and started creating it, I realized that happiness was never about what I had lost. It was about what I had within me all along, the strength to rise, the courage to dream again, and the willingness to embrace life despite its imperfections. And that is a power that we all have. Happiness is not a destination. It is a choice we make every single day. Life is unpredictable. One moment, everything seems to be going according to plan, and the next, everything changes. In the face of adversity, it is easy to feel defeated, to believe that our struggles define us, and to lose hope. But the truth is, challenges do not define who we are. How we respond to them does. Strength is not found in avoiding difficulties, but in facing them with resilience and courage. There was a time when I believed my life had been completely shattered. One accident changed everything, taking away the mobility I had always taken for granted. The doctors told me I would never walk again. They told me I would never live the life I once had. At first, I believed them. I let my circumstances define me. I saw myself as someone who had lost everything, someone who would never be the same again. I allowed myself to be consumed by grief, to dwell on what could have been, to focus on what was no longer possible. But then I realized something powerful. My challenges were not meant to break me, they were meant to shape me. My identity was not in my struggles, but in my ability to rise despite them. I could either let my situation dictate the rest of my life, or I could choose to redefine my own story. That was the moment I decided that I would not be remembered as someone who gave up. I would be remembered as someone who refused to be defeated. We all face hardships. Some are visible, like mine, while others are hidden within. There are moments in life when we feel lost, when we feel like we have been knocked down so hard that we will never be able to stand again. But true strength is not measured by the absence of struggle. It is measured by the ability to keep going despite it. Every difficulty we face is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to prove to ourselves that we are capable of far more than we ever imagined. People will try to tell you what you cannot do. They will set limits on you, define you by your circumstances, and assume that your challenges will hold you back. But only you get to decide what you are capable of. Only you get to decide how you will respond to life's hardships. You are not your failures, your losses, or your struggles. You are the strength that keeps moving forward, the hope that refuses to rise no matter how many times you fall. When I first started painting, I did not do it because I was an artist. I did it because I needed a way to express myself. I could no longer move the way I once had, but my hands could still create, my mind could still dream, and that was enough. When I started speaking, it was not because I had all the answers, it was because I had a story to tell. I knew that if my challenges could inspire even one person to believe in themselves, then everything I had gone through had a purpose. We often underestimate our own strength. We look at others who have achieved great things and think that they're different, that they have something special that we do not. But the truth is, strength is not something you are born with, it is something you build. It comes from the moments when you choose to keep going, even when it would be easier to give up. It comes from the times when you refuse to let failure define you, when you turn your pain into purpose, and when you decide that no matter what life throws your way, you will not be defeated. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to rewrite your story. You do not have to be defined by your past, your mistakes, or your hardships. You have the power to rise above them, to transform them into something meaningful, and to prove to yourself that you are far stronger than you ever thought possible. So when life knocks you down, do not let it define you. Let it strengthen you. Let it teach you. Let it shape you into the person you were always meant to be. You are not your struggles. You are the strength that rises despite them. From the moment we are born, the world begins to define us. We are given names, identities, and expectations. Society places labels on us, telling us who we are, what we can do, and what we cannot. People set boundaries for us, often based on their own limitations and fears. They tell us that certain dreams are too big, certain goals are impossible, and certain paths are not meant for us. But the truth is, no one else has the right to decide our limits. No one else has the power to define what we can or cannot achieve. The only real limits are the ones we accept for ourselves. When my life changed in an instant, I suddenly found myself surrounded by voices telling me what I could no longer do. I was told that I would never walk again. I was told that I would never live a normal life. I was told that I'd never be able to do many of the things I once loved. And for a while, I believed them. I allowed those words to shape my thoughts, and I felt trapped inside the limitations that others had placed on me. But then I realized something important. These limitations were not mine. They were reflections of other people's fears, not my own. If I wanted to truly live, I had to break free from those limits and decide for myself what I was capable of. It is easy to let the world define us, to listen to the doubts and fears of others. People will always have opinions. They will tell you what is practical, what is realistic, and what is safe. But greatness is never achieved by playing it safe. Dreams are not fulfilled by staying within the boundaries that others set for us. If we want to truly live, we must be willing to break free from those limitations and carve our own path. The moment I stopped listening to the voices that told me what I could not do, my life changed. I picked up a paintbrush, even though I had never considered myself an artist. I began speaking, even though I had once believed my story was not worth sharing. I pursued my passions, not because they were easy, but because they gave me purpose. And in doing so, I realized that the only thing standing between me and the life I wanted was my own willingness to break free from the limits imposed on me. We are often held back by fear. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of the unknown. But fear is just an illusion. It is a story we tell ourselves about what might happen, not a reflection of what is truly possible. When we let go of that fear, we open ourselves to endless possibilities. We begin to see that the world is not as rigid as we once thought, that our dreams are not as impossible as we once believed. Breaking free from limitations does not mean that challenges will disappear. It does not mean that the journey will be easy. But it does mean that we take control of our own lives. It means that we refuse to let our circumstances, our past, or the doubts of others dictate our future. It means that we recognize our own power and our own potential. I have met so many people who have given up on their dreams because someone told them it was not possible. I have seen people abandon their passions because they were afraid of failure. But the only true failure is never trying at all. The only true loss is allowing others to decide our worth and our potential. You are not bound by the limitations that society places on you. You are not defined by the doubts of others. You are capable of more than you can even imagine. The only question is whether you will allow yourself to believe it, whether you will have the courage to step beyond the boundaries that others have set and pursue the life you truly want. So do not let the world tell you who you are. Do not let others dictate what you can or cannot do. Do not accept limitations that do not belong to you. Break free, dream boldly, live fearlessly, and prove to yourself and the world that you are limitless.